Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy T for 365 Horror, and this is a horror movie discovery channel. I am just here to put as many horror movies on your watch list as possible. And really, I kind of went back and forth for the last 2 weeks on whether I should cover this movie, because let's face it, this movie is not for everyone or anyone. But the fact is we're going to cover all the movies here, and I want you guys to be able to say that you've seen everything. So I am going to talk to some of my depraved gorehounds right now, and we're going to cover one of the most brutal movies I have ever seen, ATROZ, right now. Now we are going to get right into the video, but before we do, I've got to ask you guys to please like and subscribe if you like this content. Also, this video is best watched with a movie tracker. I like to use Letterboxd. It's just the easiest way to keep track of the movies that you've seen and want to see. And with that, let's talk about a film that is not for the faint of heart, ATROZ. So if you've hung around this far, grab your security blanket and let's dive right into the blood-soaked madness.
¡Cógetelo! ¡Cógetelo, perra!
Now, first off, I just want to give you guys a bit of a warning, and I want to ask the question, should you watch ATROZ? Well, that's a hard question, really. So full caveat, I watch horror for 4 main reasons. I watch horror to be scared, to be creeped out, to be shocked by gore, or disturbed by the actions in the movies. That's why I love gore, because when it gets really extreme, it just really shocks me. So if I were to answer that question, honestly, I would say this movie is only for fans of extreme horror that does not pull any punches. So be warned. This movie is not for everyone. I'm saying it right off the hop. If you prefer a film that's a scream fest, or a drama horror that hits you with its hard-hitting story and narrative, or atmospheric tension, ATROZ simply might be too much for you to stomach. It's super extreme, and not everyone is going to appreciate its in-your-face approach. So what is ATROZ? ATROZ is a 2015 independent Mexican splatter film made in a found footage style. It suffered harsh criticism alongside films like a Serbian film, the Guinea Pig series, and the Vomit Doll series. Due to its extreme nature, it's only really been reviewed by select sites and magazines who are really fans of the genre, so mainstream fans really haven't had access to this movie. The reviews tend to vary from very strong with genre fans, so guys like me who like this kind of extreme movie, to more artsy film critics who just found it to be a little bit too much, or the gore to be comically silly, or for it to just be over the top. The synopsis for the film reads, while examining a traffic accident where a woman was badly hurt, the unorthodox police commander finds proof of even more gruesome facts and decides to deal out vengeful justice. This movie stars David Abusafi, Abigail Bonilla, and Ricardo Brito, and it is directed by Lex Ortega. So first we're going to talk about the scare factor of ATROZ, and like I said in the intro, that this movie isn't really scary at all, and I don't really think it's there to scare you, unless you get nervous or feel, because sometimes when I watch like extremely bad movies, like I'll just feel dirty, so maybe there's a little bit of that. I don't know if I would put that in the creep out section, but again, I don't think this movie really exists to scare you at all. When it comes to the creeps in ATROZ, I'd mostly say that the creeps exist in the thought that humans could be this cruel. Also, this is where I somewhat appreciated that the film was presented in a found footage style. Just after watching like so many Reddit from back in the day when I watched a lot of dark Reddit material, I felt like it added a layer of realism to the movie and added to the uneasy feeling that I felt while watching it. Next, I'm going to talk about the gore in ATROZ, and honestly, this is some hardcore stuff. This movie travels into the extreme of hardcore gore, pushing boundaries and challenging the watcher with its raw and visceral betrayal of human depravity. This movie is full of intense graphic scenes that provoke discomfort, meaning that the movie is a hard watch from start to finish. The use of practical effects added an authenticity to the gruesome scenes enhancing the film's shock value. ATROZ does not shy away from graphic and explicit scenes and is sure to make your stomach churn. This movie is a one-way ticket to brutality, and it is not holding back at all. When it comes to the characters, this movie crafts a disturbing narrative that explores the darkest corners of humanity. And it definitely leaves an impression on any of those brave enough to undertake its dark journey. Even amidst this journey into themes of violence, torture, and moral decay, this film at times does attempt to explore the psychology behind the acts being depicted on screen. The characters also play their parts well on being brutal and completely unhinged. Now let's talk about the story of ATROZ, and the story in this movie is insanely brutal, immersing the viewer in a descent into madness. The found footage nature of this film leaves it feeling gritty and amplifies the disturbing content, creating an experience that feels uncomfortably real. As someone who spent countless hours of his youth consuming serial killer documentaries, true crime material, dark Reddit posts, gore, watch people die, I will say that this movie does have a sense of realism to it compared to some of the things I've seen. That's one of the things that actually shocked me the most about this movie, because I really did feel like I was watching some pretty despicable acts being played out on screen. Lastly, I'm going to give a final score to ATROZ, and it's going to be an 8.5 out of 10. And honestly, to fans of the genre of like extreme and gore, this movie could be a 9. I guarantee that this film will always be polarizing because of its extreme content. Those for a taste with boundary-pushing horror and a strong stomach will really appreciate how far this movie pushed the genre's limits. Those wanting to be shocked and disgusted will be left satisfied with the movie's ability to deliver a raw and unforgettable experience. A last little conclusion, ATROZ should be approached with caution, as this amount of gore will not be for just anyone. And although I can always see this movie being in a realm of maybe love it or hate it, I personally loved it and added it to my collection. And just for a quick show and display, I did put my money where my mouth is, and I did go out and buy a copy of this movie. Like, the second I watched it, I just knew that this was something I had to have in my collection. One of my favorite things to do is like when my friends come over, my boys, you know, they'll talk about horror movies. Some of them will talk about how cheesy they are. And at that point, I will, and I barely get anyone with this anymore because they know better now. But I will say, oh, horror movies are cheesy, huh? Well, I can show you something that will traumatize your life. And most of the time, guys are like, oh yeah, let's see. And they don't make it through half of these movies, man. And I don't know why I take pride in that. Like, I take pride in the fact that I have traumatized people's lives with completely extreme movies. Call it a hobby of mine. I don't know. I just love shocking people. So I do have a section of movies that if I throw any of these on, I know for a fact you aren't leaving the same person. But with that, that is going to do it, guys. I hope you heard some good reasons to at least try to stomach the movie ATROZ. Again, it's not going to be for everyone, so please don't come back into my comments and say, what the heck is wrong with you, dude? Because that's what we're here. We're here to watch horror movies, man. I've always been a fan of the extreme ever since 1988. Friday the 13th, part 7, I believe it is, First Blood or New Blood, where he takes a girl in a sleeping bag, pulls her out of the tent, and proceeds to beat her to death against a tree. I don't know, man. That was one of the first movies I saw, and my jaw was on the ground. Like, ever since then, I just knew that I just wanted to see more twisted and disturbing things. So I hope you enjoy this pick. I promise you guys that you will not be disappointed. This is not something that you're going to be like, this guy doesn't know extreme. This is one of the most extreme. So that is going to do it. If you do like this content, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.